Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Amit Bhave. I'm from CMCL. CMCL's view of the world is that everything is connected. And it's not just the assets, it's also the connections between the assets. And these connections are nothing but relationships. These need to be accounted for. Once you do that, you will soon see that the dimensionality of this problem, being it a cross-sector, cross-software, cross-data platforms, goes basically increasingly complex. To deal with that, we don't just need the human experts, but we combine AI and machine learning with that. So what I would like to share with you this morning is our journey in building the climate resilience demonstrator. This is a cross-sector connected digital twin called Credo. So let's look at the problem space first. UK, like other countries, depends on its critical infrastructure, whether it's telecoms, power, railways, transport, and other sectors. If there is a problem with one of the sectors, one of the networks, there is a chance and there's a high probability that other sectors can have a knock-on effect and fail as well. These are termed as cascading failures. There was a recent government report which told how unprepared we are in the UK for even the best climate change scenario, let alone the trajectory that we are currently following. Let's take an example of Storm Desmond. In December 2015, it hit Lancaster, and about 100,000 people were knocked off power. That failure in the electrical networks also had a cascading failure on the transport, on the water networks, as well as on the telecoms network. In particular, the vulnerable groups, like people in hospitals, care homes, as well as people isolated at home for care reasons, they were particularly hit the hardest. So really the case for adaptation and resilience, as we have heard from the panel this morning, as well as the talks, is the strongest ever. Let's take a view of the adaptation committee here.
The climate change resilience of infrastructure networks is a challenge that is not yet well understood and is one we need to address urgently. Asset owners really need to know who are they dependent on. It's really crucial both for the integrity of the assets, but also for the service you provide your customers.
So the cascading failures, so I'm not just talking about resilience from an asset owner, it's the relationships between the asset owners, between different networks from across sectors. And this cascading failure is still an unsolved problem. So wouldn't it be great to have an understanding of the assets in a connected way so that we can have a network of networks approach towards the assets rather than having resilience built in silos, that is rail considering resilience of rail, telecoms considering resilience across telecom sectors. But what we are talking about is, a network of network solution combining AI and physical-based models. So the solution here is Credo. Credo is a collaborative digital ecosystem. This is, in the true sense of collaboration, you can see a lot of asset owners, SMEs, academic researchers, government organizations, regulators on board here. CMCL is one of the company in this consortium. We have led the technology approach development and implementation of the connected digital twin. We have, of course, relied on all the partners, for example, likes of BT, Anglian Water, UK Power Networks, for the data, very confidential and secure data from their decentralized sites. We have relied on flood data from companies like Fathom, also very detailed hydraulics and very detailed hydrology models run on high-performance computers on a secured network such as Daphne, as well as failure risk models, whether it's simplistic or very detailed probabilistic failure models from university and academic researchers. So just before we go into the connected digital twin space, so that we are all on the same page, what we mean by a digital twin here is on the left-hand side, you have a physical twin. This is a physical asset or a system. On the right, we use the data from the physical twin or the physical asset to build a model to mimic the behavior of the physical twin. So your digital twin not just represents the behavior of the physical twin, but it can also give you a real-time indication of the state of the physical system. So obviously there are lots of digital twins that have been built in silos. In Credo, we go beyond the state of the art, and thereby we go into cross-sector connected digital twins. And these are not just syntactic digital twins, i.e. writing a script here, writing a script there to connect digital twins. These are semantic digital twins, which means the machines can interpret what a pipeline for a water company means, what does a pump for Anglian Water means, and it can differentiate that from what a secondary power station for UK Power Network means. So it's really the machines understanding the interpretation and the meaning of the data and not just connecting data for the sake of it. Because by doing that, you can of course do optimization, scenario analysis, but you can use the power of machines for reasoning. Thus, the asset owners can connect data in a decentralized way across different sectors. They can, of course, query this data across, again, decentralized data spaces. You can imagine and do scenario analysis, as well as you can do optimization and control in a very granular fashion, pretty much Lego-like. So just imagine here a quick cartoon. What I've put here is the assets. So the water asset owner at the top, then the power asset owner, and find the telecoms, and then the other asset owners. This blue box is just for representation of a flood area. So imagine a water company looking at their assets and finding that downstream there have been failures due to flood, but these failures have resulted from a power network failure, which is then owned by a power asset owner. Similarly, a telecoms company would have view of their failed assets and would build resilience thereby, focusing on their assets. But wouldn't it be great to have a connected understanding across all the sectors, across all the assets? Because then not just the asset owners, it's really data sharing for public good, which means other people and communities, such as NHS, can also benefit from data and connected understanding across all the sectors. So here is a quick view from Anglian Water as one of the end users.
Credo is a connected digital twin that can visualize future climatic impacts across the infrastructure system. That means that the investments that we make and our partners make are in the right areas.
Collaboration through connected digital twins is key to tackling climate change.
So that's a quick view of what a connected digital twin can do. What you see here is the data and models being run for fluvial floods, pluvial floods, as well as groundwater risk. On top of that, you can have all the assets. You can see the individual assets that have failed, that are covered with red rings. You can have, that's the primary cause of failure, but then some of the assets are also dependent on these primary assets, and you can have these relationships model, thereby having a knowledge graph approach. The beauty of this approach is it's very much scalable and granular by design. You can then go into individual assets and you can get the real-time information on what would be the cost of rescuing this asset, what currently is the flood depth, what currently is the dependency or criticality or vulnerability of this asset and linkage with others. You can also get an aggregated view of how many sites are at risk, what's the status of the risk, and what are the potential resilience and adaptation measures. So in short, the main outcome here is the demonstration of the digital ecosystem. In the spirit of collaborative ecosystem, we have put everything in the public domain, obviously not the data, particularly the sensitive data, but we have created synthetic data, and the digital twin is out there on the Digital Twin Hub for you to play with. We have demonstrated data sharing for public good and also tried to share the challenges with regards to data sharing. So how have we achieved this? This is who we are as a company. So we are an organically grown company, a Cambridge spin out over a decade ago. The ideas and the inspiration for this connected digital twin work came from our original flagship technology, the World Avatar, where I explained to you about the connected view and understanding of the world. Our mission is enabling data interoperability across organizations, teams, machines, agents, etc. And we have a team of technical specialists here in UK and Germany. So thanks to my colleagues and acknowledging the efforts. As is true with any data sharing projects, you don't just need technology, you also need the social aspect, the legal, the commercial, and we have been able to bring that together. So thank you for this opportunity to share our journey, and happy to answer any questions.
Hi, my name is Phil Williams. I'm going to present about the polysync system and how we were able to retrofit the polysync system onto a blue roof that you would never really put a green or blue roof onto that roof. The polysync system is a smart system that has been developed in collaboration with Kisters, Polypipe, EPG, and Mashup Analytics. So what is polysync? So basically the polysync is a smart system. The purpose of that is whenever you do a new design, you have to put in your rainwater attenuation. That's managing the 100-year storm event plus 40 to 55% extra for climate change. And then if you wanted to harvest some of that rainfall, you have to put in another rainwater harvesting tank, because you have to assume that the rainwater harvesting tank is full when your 100-year storm event comes. So what the polysync system does is it uses rainfall analytics to see the storms coming in and makes a decision about emptying out the water. So 99% of the time, a traditional attenuation tank is empty. What we're trying to do is make it full. Have it there for rainwater reuse, irrigation, flushing the toilets, because water is now going to be a critical resource for everyone. And then what it does when it sees the storm come in, it makes that decision. It sees how much rainfall is going to come in, makes the decision about how much water it should discharge. One of the benefits of doing it this way is it tends to harvest storms. The idea is when a storm comes in, it collects that storm, that storm, so it doesn't actually discharge to the sewers at capacity. So the idea is, rather from running from empty to empty, which a normal attenuation tank does, we're looking at running from full to full. So we're discharging ahead of the storm, collecting the water as the rainfall comes, and then at the end of the storm, the tank is full, ready for us to reuse it. But we've got a number of these smart systems out there. There's 3 or 4 of them. So what's the difference between, say, polysync and some of the other ones? Well, one of the big things is its ability, its scalability, and it uses a digital twin, and it uses optimization. So the purpose of the polysync is it can work from an individual single tank, and it moves right the way through, and it's been programmed so it can talk with all other sensors, all other levels, Brian's system out there possibly. So all this information can feed into the polysync system, and it makes a decision. It uses it all, so it turns everything then into a smart system. So we're changing dumb assets into smart assets. So you can just have a single attenuation tank that may be brand new or retrofitted in, or as we're currently discussing in Jersey, maybe putting this in one of their reservoirs, so their reservoir becomes a main attenuation system for when this storm comes in. Anyone who's knows SUDS will see the 4 pillars of SUDS. So I've tried to replicate it with the 4 pillars or the foundations of SMART. So one of the most important things is the weather forecasting. Last week I was meant to be in Neath doing a site visit. It's a 4-hour drive, 5-hour drive from Warrington to Neath down the M6, which is a lot of fun. Tuesday night, getting amber weather alerts, yellow weather alerts, made a call, we're not going to go tomorrow. So I changed my alarm, had a nice extra 2 hours in bed, woke up, blue skies, it was wonderful. So I just looked literally like a liar. They've woke up to my email saying, because of the weather, I can't come, and it's lovely. So we need to, so the weather in the polysync system is a blended approach. So it's not just the Met Office, it is all the weather forecasting information taken into one system, and then it's blended together using statistical engineering over the last 30 years. But as has been alluded to a number of times, it's still not perfect. There is still these flashy, big storm events coming. So this is where engineering comes in, building in fail-safes. What happens if this storm event comes and it's not even being predicted? Building in engineering. So engineering is critical. I'm speaking to a room full of engineers, so I think I don't need to play that side up. And another one is data and software. A few years ago, a big Las Vegas casino got taken for a couple of £1 million because someone got into their bank account via a wireless thermometer in a fish tank. So if they can do it that way, they can get into your building maintenance system or anything else that a smart system is connected to. So that is critical. We really need to improve, have that, all these areas locked down. So as the good doctor said before he did it, it's going much further into digital twins and smart and AI than us, but in the background of the polysync system is a digital twin that is currently assessing the weather, seeing what's predicted, what's actually happening, and then revising the forecast, revising its optimization, revising when it should be discharging. So what we've done is, with United Utilities and Bruntwood, we move this from theoretical into a live demonstration. So we put it on the block roof. It is a former NatWest Bank, incredibly lightweight roof. So the roof had 1 in 80 falls. If you went to anyone and said, "Can I put a blue roof on this?" they would say, "No, not a chance. You put a green roof on that, it will die the first time the sun comes out." So what we've done is using the smart system coupled with passive irrigation. So a blue roof, what it does is it has passive irrigation, rock wool tied into the cell cones. We could really thin down the substrate. So the usual substrate thickness is about 150. We brought that down to 75 mil because there was always a layer of water to provide that irrigation so it doesn't burn the first time the sun comes out. We used polyrend to level, we re-waterproofed the deck, we used polyrend to level it out to plus or minus 10 mil. And then we installed the blue roof layer, which is permavoid. And if you're looking at the central picture or the image looking down, that is to the west of the block. That means that this area is in the rain shadow of a 13-story building. And it's Manchester, the predominant weather system is westerlies coming in. So this doesn't perform in the same way as a weather forecast would tell you to do it. So this is where the digital twin and AI actually comes in. What it's done is it's learned how the system works with whatever weather forecasting comes in. And then, as I said before, using the passive irrigation, we was able to really thin down our substrate, which is a lightweight lacquer type of substrate, to passively irrigate the system. This is how it looked. This was this time last year. It's glorious. It survived the 40-degree weather, which I was concerned about, but it survived it. And one of the things that we've been able to do is we dialed in the vegetation on the roof. So one of the key things that we needed to provide was a habitat for the blue butterfly. It was a butterfly that was thought to be extinct, we dialed in the vegetation. So this is a green area, a green oasis in the middle of Manchester for the blue butterfly. So we've got a year's worth of solid data of the system performing once it's been through its digital twin, it's actually optimized itself. So what we're currently doing is we're extracting all the data out from all the rainfall and seeing where are the 5 mil events. And then what difference does this make to the 5 mil events? How much water, if a 5 mil rainfall comes in, how much water do we discharge to the United Utilities sewer? What stands out even before we've done that work is the big events, it's harvesting. These graphs are essentially showing big events coming in, 10 mil, 20 mil worth of rainfall, and then it's not actually discharging. The blue line you're seeing dropping is the level of water in the tank, but it's not opening. What that is that's passive irrigation being used. It's collecting that storm. So these are big storm events which are causing flooding in the centre of Manchester, but it's not going to the sewers. It's being held and it's being recycled by the plants. So the future applications for the polysync is to start building this out. We've got a number of new developments this is going into. What we want to be able to do is get them all talking to each other. The more times that they can talk to each other, the better the information is. What we want to also do is work with the water companies, have the water companies talking back to the polysync system, saying, if you can put this in Manchester, say you've got the block roof, Arndale, the sewer turns around to the Arndale and says, you discharge for the next half an hour, block roof, you discharge for the next half hour, the following half hour, and have the discharge being determined by the sewers, by their capacity, rather than just an arbitrary, let's discharge a greenfield runoff rate. And hopefully by having that done, especially if you can determine, say, where it is, whether it's close to CSOs, you might be able to limit the flow discharge from the roofs or the outlets close to the CSOs, so the CSOs don't actually, it might be a way of mitigating against that CSO. So, thank you.